party's over. She'll let me leave when all the fun is done.
Peace to the tribe, peace to the collective. It's the Hood Mystic, representing hoodmystic.com. Here with another video, another edition of Hood in the Morning. And today I just really want to talk about some things that was on my heart, some things that was on my mind. And I really want to be like, yo, hood fortune teller, I see twerking in your future. No, really just to put a smile on your face, to have you think about things in a certain light. As we're going to look at some astrology in this video. Of course, I want to deal with a couple of topics. And send y'all on y'all way. Just want to do a quick little show about some things that I want to talk about. Give y'all some things to look at and some things to think about, some things to talk about with your family. Hopefully, if you was in a position where you was looking at your kids crazy, if you was looking at your kids crazy, this video is for you. And let me just bring the chat over so I can see. Well, hate to be talking and y'all couldn't hear me, man. So yeah, man, hopefully everything is well with you and yours. And before we start this video, I just want to invite y'all, if you would, click the first link in the description. That is my Substack. If you would like to support this channel for as little as $5 a month, this week I'm working on a article about the High Priestess. And if you would like to read that, you will also get a preview to all of my books and all of my writings. I stay active in the spiritual game by studying, taking notes, writing, putting those notes together, putting out literature, because there's no sense to me for me to just be taking notes so I can just feel deep, you understand, or just have some shit to reflect on. I'm all about sharing. Sharing is caring. And if you care to share, join my Substack. Like I said, the first link in the description, for as little as $5 a month. Now that the commercial is out the way, let's get to this twerking business. Right. So what I'm going to talk about today, what I'm framing this conversation around, is the planet Neptune square to planet Mars. Right. So Neptune is about spiritual development, and the sun is our overall expression. Right now we got the sun conjunct Neptune, and it's two ways we can look about this thing. We can look at life as going about shit the same way we've been going about it, feeling the way that we've been feeling about it, or recognizing who we are. Man, we have been on a journey. So literal terms, spiritual terms, physical terms, emotional terms, mental terms, and any terms you can name, it has been a journey. And so as Neptune moves into sidereal Pisces, the longer journey that we have been on is coming into focus. And that journey is a simple understanding of, like, have you changed as a person? Are you still the same human? Have you just kept letting your habits, your mysticism, not even the positive, like your imagination, illusions was the word that I was looking for, are those the predominant things in your life? And it's not to beat up on anybody, because we all have illusions, but the reality is illusions aren't worthwhile because they're not real. So at a certain level, I was going to title this video Make-A-Wish Foundation, because that is the energy. But then Spirit was like, oh, wait a second. Yes, the sun is also conjunct Neptune, but Mars is squares this energy. So whatever we thought in reference to the illusion, whatever is reference to the lies that we tell ourselves to make it through what we've been experiencing for these past 6 months, is the karma of the lies that we tell ourselves. Now, some people is flying through this energy with flying colors. Guess what? Them people is keeping it real with themselves. But if you find yourself struggling, you're going to keep struggling if you're trying to figure out who you need to specifically blame. Because you, as a spiritual being, are a co-creator of your whole entire life. So if you're poor, it's your fault. If you're rich, it's your fault. If you're in a happy marriage, it's your fault because you put in the work to have a happy marriage. If your marriage, have you crying at night and you can't sleep and you be hating the person you sleeping next to, talking shit, then that's your fault because you created that energy and atmosphere. So as the sun moves into Pisces, Neptune moves into Pisces, it's a lot of people, let's talk about this because this is coming to mind as we reflect on the cosmic truth and how it relates to the mundane truth. It's a lot of people on the internet that play spirit, right? And the people that play spirit, they catching hell. And they'll get online and act like it's something wrong with the people that is giving them money for their services, right? If I go to Nike and I buy the shoe and I'm like, man, this shoe hurt my feet. That's because your feet is ugly. I'm tired of people coming into my goddamn shoe store with ugly feet who don't even know how to put on shoes right and tie shoes right. Have y'all ever heard Nike say that? Yes or no? Have y'all ever said, Nike, I'm tired of people coming into my shoe store and they got on dirty shoes. In order for y'all to come into Nike, y'all got to have on clean shoes. That wouldn't make sense if I'm trying to sell shoes. What am I talking about? As spiritual people, you are dealing with broken people. People who don't have all of their sense. People who don't have all of their shit together. Yes, their mama might think that they got it together. Yes, their kids might think they got it together. Yes, their partner might think it's together and they never saying, hey, baby, how you doing today? How is your mental health? So a motherfucker gonna have to rely on a psychic, on a therapist, on a counselor, on a support group. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's the adult thing to do. The childish thing to do is to not question your mental health. And you know what they call it in 2023? They call it gaslighting. When you make a person reflect on their thinking to make sure that you're thinking in the correct manner, that everybody within the particular paradigm is accounted for in the same way people should be treating you in the same fashion. So once again, this Neptune energy, this Pisces energy, we did a video, my last video, Neptune conjunct Chiron, which is in Pisces as well, is so much to do with accountability on multiple levels. Like in every facet of life, how accountable are you versus to how much you point the finger? Then when we think about the future, it's like learning how to fly on a cloud. And you ain't never flied on a cloud before. But that's the only mode of transportation. And so back to these spiritual people who not in it to heal, right? Come to the conclusion, come to the realization, they're not actually in it for the spiritual led nature of being a spiritual professional, to which we move it and model it into survival or model it into an accolade or a means of success, but not in a sense of I have healed, so I want other people to heal too. So in reference to the mode of healing, what's the mode of healing? It takes some time. It takes a long, long time, and it's better for me to sit here and talk and reference the energy of the day than it is to say you need to spend money with me, because in reference to you having the reflective moment of being accountable, you can't buy that to say, okay, I am accountable in my relationship. So if my wife is not happy, It's not necessarily me to say, okay, bitch, that's on you. Because I know for a fact when it comes to my happiness, I tend to look to my wife. So why wouldn't she do the same when it comes to me? So why wouldn't we be accountable to each other instead of trying to find the next YouTube video that's going to validate our bias? So, of course, you dealing with this Gemini energy that deals with the love and is really dealing about true love. And the only true love is the love for which your spirit dictates for you. Your ancestors, your soul dictates for you. It's a lot of karma in dealing with people sexually, catching feelings, and then not even holding up your end of the bargain. So some of y'all is sexually attracted to people who won't even take you out to read a book at Barnes and Nobles. But your body is looking at that energy as your divine masculine counterpart. So when Mars moves into Gemini, this is where the Eight of Swords, the Nine of Swords, the Ten of Swords, look at those cards. Those cards represent mental illness, mental anguish, when it should represent the ability to be in bliss or in love. Every energy in reference to love and relationships, whether we're talking about Gemini, the tarot card that rules Gemini is the Lovers. We're talking about Libra. The energy that rules Libra is marriages, weddings, companionship, partnership. So these are air signs. There's not water signs, which represent emotion. There's not fire signs that represent passion. There's not earth signs that represent physicality. No, these are air signs that represent mental connection. And in reference to a mental connection, it may be difficult in 2023, but you need to learn how to stand on that, because then that's going to help you with your magic. It's one thing to wish for shit, but it's a whole nother thing to not stand in your relationship truth. So as relationships end, new relationships form, or new relationships with self. Because a lot of people might in 2023 be feeling as though, they don't want to deal with people and they want to be alone and they want to isolate themselves, which is not in relation to the energy, the sun coming out of Aquarius. Aquarius representing social groupings and meeting people and spreading your wings a little bit, or the desire to do so. So isolating yourself then becomes a reflection of the inability to do self-work, the work to heal. So it's only for so long fake thugs can pretend. How long can you be by yourself? Forever? This is where we talk about mental illness and mental health. For you to entertain that idea that I can be alone because I don't need people is a result of mental illness and trauma. Because nobody had a positive experience and said, you know what? This situation has been so great and wonderful. I think I don't want to be with you any longer. One's in the chat if that makes sense to y'all, or if that don't make sense. Nobody had a positive experience within their 11th house and said, you know what, I'm gonna be alone for the rest of my life because this positive experiences was so great. So the idea of wanting to be alone has to be rooted in trauma. To sustain that idea has to be rooted in unhealedness. Does that make sense? So when we deal with Pisces, we're not dealing with one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish, nigga. We dealing with multitudes. We're dealing with connections. We're dealing with large groups. We're dealing with walking in your purpose. You cannot walk in your purpose by yourself. You cannot walk in your purpose in isolation. You cannot walk in your purpose in idol worship. All of these things for which we thought were external, and the reason why you can't find it externally is because all of these energies represent you raising your kundalini, becoming mentally accountable, emotionally accountable. Mentally accountable, meaning that nobody can't make you think shit. Emotionally accountable, meaning that nobody can't make you feel shit that you don't want to feel. So it's like, okay, blaming the person in front of you is not being accountable. And then once you get into Virgo energies and Taurus energies, not being accountable for your body, that goes without saying, right? I think more of relationships and emotionals and mentals is that, people got to kind of be aware of, hey, if you feel like you can be alone and be okay, then you're holding something that you need to let go. And your refusal to let it go is now rotted the fundamental nature of your mind and emotional well-being, because you're holding on to an idea that in a global apocalypse, it is okay to be alone. For which you could make a wish, but if that wish is a selfish wish, Sun conjunct Neptune, then the square to Mars is going to interfere based upon the sense that it's not making. The sense that it's not making. So hopefully that makes sense to y'all. Hopefully that gives y'all a little insight and kind of how to deal with people and understand people. But even deeper, I want to speak to an energy that people are not fully referencing, and it is the fact of the divine feminine being underwater ritualistically, whether you're talking about Krishan rock, and alcoholism and mental illness and verbal abuse and physical abuse and emotional abuse and toxic masculinity and toxic femininity, and never realizing to be grounded to facilitate some form of change, we have to recognize that we are underwater as a people. This is real life spit, and I can't change the world, but if a person find themselves listening to this video, I'm sure you're going to be with your son or your daughter, and you're going to be frustrated with them. Right? But we are slow to get to the processes of mental health and emotional health, and really satisfying the needs emotionally and mentally, especially for Black boys and Black girls. Your mom will look at you like you bad, right? Have y'all mom ever called you bad? Versus you might have a psychological or a mental ailment that you may need to get professional help with. Because if it ain't making sense, it ain't making dollars. And it's a lot of Black men that's walking the streets homeless, and they could really, and not even homeless, riding in Bentleys. It runs the whole spectrum and the whole gamut. If the whole world is diagnosed with specific mental health ailments and getting the help necessary, whether holistic or medicinally, then Black men and Black women, we just crazy. Does that make sense to y'all? Y'all ever seen a person in the hood? Do we say that he's suffering from mental health, or do we say that that person is crazy? We say that that person is crazy, and people will show this shit on the internet, and we never think they should get help. My analogy is, when we're talking about this, we're also talking about physical health too. So say, for instance, my leg was broke. You wouldn't say that I was crazy because I was walking lopsided, or I was walking with a wheelchair. You would say his leg is broke, so I understand that he can't walk the same way as I can walk because my leg is fully functioning. Well, it's a large percentage of the populace due to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, things of that nature. Western education, things of that nature, college, things of that nature, where their go-to move is mental health crisis. Like their everyday existence is a mental health crisis. Now, in reference to the astrology that I want to break wind to, is that we have to be spiritually accountable. So when we talk about mental health, we're also talking about spirituality. We're also talking about shadow work, because 10 times out of 10, there's an expression in that black boy that black boy is not being able to express because he got a foot and you giving him a glove or a hand, right? This is what's happening with black boys and black girls who get misdiagnosed or not diagnosed at all. Where it's a hand at, they got a foot. So instead of giving them a foot glove, you get a hand glove. And because they can't fit the hand glove, you curse them out and say you just like your daddy and I can't stand you and why can't you behave? And you get so frustrated with them because they do not fit into what you want them to be as a parent. Because this is ego and this is shadow. Because as a parent, your kid's supposed to be perfect. And you don't want to feel the shame and embarrassment for not having perfect kids. So you trying to game your kids up and boss your kids up to be something that they're not. And you're not serving them mentally or emotionally because you're forcing them to be something that they're not. And then chastising them because they can't be it. And then you look at the whole world where everybody is adjusting to people's mental health, the youth, depending on how much money you have, depending on where you at in life. And I'm not saying that is bad or is good. I'm just saying this is happening while the same thing is happening in our community. People are just getting demonized and chastised in their home, and they're not getting the help that they need or the attention that they need or the patience that they need because maybe they're on the spectrum. Maybe they suffer from depression. Maybe they suffer from trauma. Maybe they suffer from grief. And these particular things do not blossom the same way as stable environment. No trauma, no grief, no disassociation. Oh, she blossomed like a rose, but he blossomed like a dandelion. The reality of when flowers blossom, they all have medicinal properties. So why would we look at every child and wish for them to be a rose? Why would we wish for every child to be a lily? Why wouldn't we look at the whole mycology of the plant spectrum and see the diversity in it and see the necessity in it and wish for our children to blossom regardless of what they do, to blossom into their full and true potential? They can't rise into that potential if they're being chastised, if they're not being understood mentally and emotionally. And one would say triggered by what I'm saying, but one thing I'm talking about the energy, and two things I'm talking about the study from Child Mind Institute. One study found that Black male teenagers receiving psychiatric care were more likely to be diagnosed with schizophrenia than any other group, while white adolescents were more likely to be diagnosed with depression. Black teenagers of any gender were also more likely to be diagnosed with conduct disorder, right? Instead of behavioral disorder or psychological disorder, meaning that you are a problem to the system and you have to be restrained or you are disrupted to the system, and not that you need help. I know that it's just two words, but being a conduct disorder is much different from mental disorder or behavioral disorder. Conduct disorder, you get treated criminally. You don't get the help, you know, and this is rampant. on multiple levels. Studies of black adults have found that they are much more likely than white adults to be diagnosed with psychotic disorders, including schizophrenia, even though when they show clear signs of severe depression. When a person is depressed and they don't get the help, they're going to come across crazy. They're not going to blossom. But the reality of being a husband, being a brother, being a sister, being a wife, being a mother, being a father does not give you the license to heal, does not give you the license to diagnose. It's a whole world that exists of education, medicinal healing, holistic healing, support groups. The strongest thing you could do as an adult is not to put that burden on people that you love. The strongest thing that you could do is get the help for your child that you can't give them. That's the strongest thing you can do. Because we could live life ignoring the psychological needs of our children. But at the same time, I'm not the person that can advocate for that. I'm not the person that can just sit here and talk to y'all about dumb shit, right? And act like, the problem is external when it's internal. Where psychological and much more to do with spiritual development or lack of spiritual development. So, me, I was just a person that was just like, I don't know. It's like when you lost and you don't have the answer, you might try your best to find the answer. And me, I'm very resourceful. And I have some form of luck associated with my life path and life story. I don't know. I named my kid 7, I guess for a reason, right? But I seen with my own eyes professionals, successful people seek out psilocybin as a means to deal with depression, as a means to deal with mental health issues. And I work for this company the summer of 2021, something like that. I don't know. Maybe this year, last year, I don't know. I was working for them for some time. It was one of my side jobs. And it was a cool little experience because I got to meet a lot of people that was in the community of psilocybin, but using psilocybin for medicinal purpose. And I've talked to people who are students. I've talked to doctors. I've talked to practitioners. I've talked to spiritualists, face to face, eye to eye, mouth to mouth, pause. But yeah, I was there seeing it with my own eyes. And it take a minute for me to put 2 and 2 together because, as I just stated earlier, Black people don't talk in the context of mental health and healing and aiding mental health. Or even you, Kyrie, you could suffer from depression. You could suffer from trauma or PTSD. Yeah, I've seen a lot of Army guys, right, use this substance when the Prozac wasn't working, when the antidepressants wasn't working. This was the thing that helped people. People use this for physical ailments that pain medicine don't work for. It's a lot of uses for psilocybin. And I didn't know this. And I'm sure for the majority of people, they're not looking at their life like they suffer from mental health issues, or they suffer from depression, or they suffer from bipolar disorder, or they suffer from any of that, because nobody has told them that. And nobody said, maybe you should get diagnosed. Maybe they said, you a crazy ass bitch, I can't stand you, or you a crazy ass nigga, or you don't got no sense, right? Or the best one, what's wrong with you, right? What's wrong with you, right? And we don't take it seriously. We don't take it medically. But if we have broke our pinky toe, we going straight to the emergency room. But when something traumatic happens to us, when we suffer deep psychotic grief, we are not getting the support that we need. Either we don't know that it's there, either we don't know it's for us, or either we don't know that we need it. And it's cool to just listen to niggas on YouTube all day. You feel me? It's cool to just bide your time, watch TikTok, video after video, do your thing, live your life. But what are you going to do when your emotions and your actions don't meet up? When your purpose and your actions don't meet up? People don't even know what their purpose is. People don't want to work to find the love within because they don't know how deep it is to get to that love within. I got me some Swedish fish and some candy jujus yesterday. My kids swore it was for them. I'm like, I legit healing my inner child. Them was the first candies that I got when I went to Boston to the little corner store. I seen the candy jujus and the Swedish fish. And I bought them as a little boy. So when I'm at the fruit market, I'm getting fruit. I'm going raw vegan. I see the candy. I buy the candy because it's just like, I know that cycle has completed. Right? I know that, 90% of my food is going to be raw vegan because that's just where I'm at in my life. That's where I'm at in healing my body, healing my mind, healing the way that I look at my life. Like, ain't no sense of me. I don't feel like I done conquered all foods. I feel like I done ate all of the food that there is to eat. And, I'm tired of having little weird shit happen and, going out to restaurants and shit. And they got weird shit in your food. You got weird people cooking it. You don't know if a nigga done digged up his ass. It could be some filet mignon. If it got little feces pieces on it, it ain't going to be the best. So it's just like a lot of shit going on. So I'm just like more of tapping into the farmers markets, things of that nature. And it's just me. But as Jupiter conjuncts Chiron and those wounds come to the surface and the reasons for, why I would want to eat the way that I eat and do the things that I want to do, I'm going to tell you one thing and I'm going to tell you two things for sure. It ain't because I'm fucking hungry. Because I ain't processing the shit that I need to process. So Spirit put that on me to speak that. That was in my notes. But I really want to bring up this study. And I want to read this study for those who can't read, those who driving or operating heavy machinery. Keep your eyes on the road and make sure that goddamn, what you call those things? So I ain't worked in a factory, and so make sure that pallet, I ain't worked in the factory so long, I'll be forgetting the terminology. Sometimes, I don't even be mad. I'll be like, I need to just go hop on a forklift from time to time. I digress. Anyway, yeah, so, make sure that pallet don't flip over. But I want to read this. This is from Johns Hopkins Medicine. This is a real article. This is people who do real studies. And these are real things that is happening in the world. And, a lot of our youth, a lot of our teenagers, they struggling, they struggling with the anxiety. They're struggling because they're spiritual beings. They have psychic abilities. Ancestors want to talk to them. Gods, deities want to walk through them, talk through them, all of this stuff. But maybe they don't have the filter. And I'm not suggesting psilocybin for teenagers. I'm just suggesting that you not judge your kids so harshly. I'm just saying, show a little more empathy with your children. And then when it comes to you, maybe your ass need to be serious about your microdosing process. Maybe you need to do more research on the thing. Because, maybe I've talked about this shit before. But that don't mean that y'all niggas know what the hell is going down and how it motherfucking affects you. So at the same time, allow me to reintroduce psilocybin into your life, into your understanding of what we're actually referencing here. I know you might be thinking that you about to get some psilocybin and you about to trip balls. Now, I'm not even opposed that, but I'm pro microdosing. And I'm not even saying microdose for the rest of your life. This is a non-addictive habit forming substance. Even more so, even if you think you about to get high and utilize mushrooms like that, then you gonna go into the energies of what we call bad trips. So at a certain point, it's used, enabled for you to reflect on your mind, as opposed to your mind leading you the entire time. There's this thing that you want to do and you like, damn, I want to do that thing. But the shit that you already got going on don't allow you to do the thing that you got to do. And that thing that you got to do is purpose driven. But even with that being said, you still don't stop to do it because your mind is on autopilot. When we talk about who you are as a human being and who you are as a spiritual being, you think it's just some shit that Kyrie is just saying. But if you ever was able to reflect on your thoughts, then you might not have had the second thought. What is that second thought? Who is doing the reflecting? If you can answer who in fact is doing the reflecting on the thoughts, then that is who you actually are. You are not the thoughts that you are having in all of its expansiveness, in all of its glory, in all of its glamour. You are not the thoughts that you are having. You are the clarity. You are the revelation of the mind. This is why apocalypse, revelation, psychedelic are like the holy trinity of understanding the present day. I really don't understand human beings with no psychedelic connection to the cosmos that's going off this shit through muscle memory, direct deposits, and Hennessy shots, and regular weed rolled in Swisher Sweets. I don't know how you making it off of them fumes. But at a certain point, you're going to have to tap into something that is much more sacred and something that is much more available. For me in my journey with psilocybin, it's like a situation where when you was a little child and you was in search of God, and then people would say when you was in your ignorance, if God was standing right in your face, you would walk right past him. Well, that's how psilocybin was for me. 2 years ago, I would listen to people talk about psilocybin and I would say, that's interesting, but not for me. The shit that I got going on, the ways for which I got shit flowing and going is perfectly fine for me. I don't need to fuck with no psilocybin whatsoever. I don't need to get into the studies. I don't need to get into the research because my direct deposits is coming in just fine without fucking psilocybin. But walking my path in my journey, life forced me to get into this. Because I didn't know that Johns Hopkins Medicine have a whole website dedicated to revealing their research on psilocybin and other psychedelic research. But it's there. And then talking to people, Yeah, this, that, and the third. Yeah, look up John Hopkins review study. Okay. Oh, I didn't even know that shit exists. Yeah, look up this website. They do this, they do that. Substrates, this, that, and the third. I done learned so much shit in life from people that I don't even fucking know. People that I've met for 2 to 3 minutes, small conversation. They motherfucking think I'm a cool dude. Give me a whole website that don't nobody know about and type shit. Like, okay, that's pretty awesome. I know a lot of people just on walking in my spiritual truth. Now, I've walked into the world of fungi, the world of mushrooms, and it was daunting at first. It was daunting at first, but it's like, I'm here now, motherfuckers. I have a full grasping of this shit, and it ain't even nothing for which I'm trying to big up or act like it's something extremely important. If you got your shit together and your mental health is not bothering you. If your mental health is A1 pristine, you happy and enjoy, and you not digmatized, because once the dick go, your happiness is going to go. So we not even referencing that. We talking about a pure, sublime truth and understanding that you are not the body, you are not your emotions, you are not your feelings, you are not your passions, you are the passive observer of the nigga who is feeling, of the woman who is emoting, acting crazy over her baby daddy. That's not even you. That's a variant of you. In reference to you understanding who you are, you observing yourself act crazy. Only until you get stimulated into that realization and the reality of me telling you this. Trust and believe it's not going to hit home. At a certain point, you're going to have to motherfucking eat from the tree like Adam and Eve and realize that you're naked. And you're not an autonomous person that's just living like an automaton, but you are a spiritual being having a human experience. Even before I got into this, like the whole concept of spiritual being having a human experience was just a process and journey of this whole year of microdosing and following my spiritual journey, just following my prompts. And it would be one thing if my prompts led me to a back alley hooker, getting some $5 head. But following my prompts and having no specific particular guide have let me to just have conversations with all types of millionaires in the upper echelon of northern Michigan that live and die for this psychedelic shit that I didn't even know existed because nobody told me that they existed. So I'm urging you to recognize that you don't actually know shit. And the ideas for which you think you know is a reference to your inability to observe yourself. Psilocybin assists with the ability to observe yourself long enough to stop feeling the way that you feel so much. And if you are really struggling with mental health, and I'm not talking about people who be mad that they couldn't get what they wanted at Burger King or no shit like that. I'm talking about you are debilitated emotionally and mentally and psychologically, and you cannot get out of bed. And you tried Prozac, Xanax, Zoloft, you name it, and it's not working, and you still feel the way that you feel. The next step is psychedelic treatment, trip sitting, and not paying $1 million for that shit either, but doing the knowledge, doing the due diligence, finding the support groups, going to the meetups, reading the articles, joining the Reddit pages, doing something, following your spiritual prompts. It will lead you, it led you to this website, or it led you to this video. So far, so good. In 2016, Johns Hopkins medicine researchers first reported that treatment with psilocybin under psychologically supported conditions significantly relieved existential anxiety and depression in people. when you talk about the teenagers and the youth and the 20-year-olds and the 30-year-olds, it ain't nothing but anxiety and depression running rampant. And it blossoming into a whole bunch of crazy shit. Because people cannot separate the forest from the trees. People can't see their divinity in their mess. People can't see the truth in their confusion at the same time. So I urge you, don't submit to your fucking confusion. Don't submit to you being lost. Don't submit to you not knowing. Submit to your spiritual beingness. And don't give up on yourself. Because, man, it's not that I gave up on myself, but if I knew that I wasn't ever going to figure it out in a sense where my mental health problems was being solved and I was able to self-diagnose that, okay, this is real shit. I'm not like a normal ass nigga that a bitch would be going out on a date with, right? I know that now. For 38 years, I didn't fucking even know that. You dig? Like, the quintessential type of dude a woman is fantasizing about, I'm not that. And that's okay, because girls still like me anyway. But it's just the reality of my eccentricness or my quirkiness, or I don't know what it is specifically, but it ain't regular normal guy that you gonna be trying to be like, yeah, baby, yo, and fuck you from, Little Rock to Arkansas, even though they in the same place. That's what more or less I would do. Keep you in the same safe vicinity. Rabbit strokes. But I'm sorry. I ain't regular. And it's cool. I don't want to be regular. I'm not aspiring to be regular. When I wake up, I'm not trying to do regular shit. And if a girl don't like me because I don't fit into her mode of regular, safe, or bold, or brash, or Brad Pitt, I don't give a fuck. I'm authentically and genuinely happy being me. And it's bad with people because I'm starting to notice the irritation I have with people. Starting to get short with people because I'm realizing I ain't regular. I'm special. I'm special. So the magnitude of the effect we saw was about 4 times larger than what clinical trials have shown for traditional antidepressants on the market. And the thing about psilocybin is no side effects. So if you microdosing, you don't have no side effects. You take one of them pills. And, you shitting out your fingernails. You shitting out your nose. Got diarrhea coming out your damn ears because you done took an antidepressant. Now all of a sudden you cross-eyed, walking with a little pigeon toe. You know what I'm saying? Just because you have a little mental health issue. It's doing all types of shit instead of curing your mental health. Now that shit done gave you gout. And you still depressed. It's like, yeah, it healed me. I ain't depressed over my trauma. I'm depressed now because I can't walk on my 2 feet no more because I got gout from taking these damn Zolofts. When you microdose, it's no side effects because you ain't taking a lot. It's like what's the side effects for eating one shred of lettuce? What's the side effects for eating one orange peel? Because we talking about earth, we talking about plants, we talking about herbs, we talking about using them responsibly, using them with respect. We talking about medicine. So at what point do you say, okay, I'm gonna take all of these Percocets? At what point you say, I'm gonna take all of my antibiotics so I can just feel good? Take all of these biotics and feel good. I never done that. I'll read the instructions. What they say, take 2 every 4 to 6 hours or as if needed. Cool. But psilocybin is take 1 a day, 250 milligrams. Cause the shit, like, and that is 4 times greater than what clinical trials have shown with the side effects. I know y'all don't hear what I'm saying. That's why I'm reading it, so y'all can read it for yourself. Unless you operate in heavy machinery, then you got to make sure your pallets is in line so you can hear me. But understand, when you get off your pallet, when you get off the forklift, I didn't type this in there, and I even for the sake of decency showed y'all where I got this shit from. Johns Hopkins Medicine. Because most other depression treatments take weeks or months to work and may have undesirable effects like diarrhea coming out your fingernails. This could be a game changer if these findings hold up in the future. The gold standard placebo-controlled clinical trials. The published findings of So I'm saying this not like I'm making this shit up. I'm saying this because I really helped myself in real life. I aligned myself in real life, and I self-diagnosed myself in real life, and never lose sense of the facts of, emotionally and mentally I'm healing. I'm fragmented. I wasn't, I was for 38 years, I've been trying to be goddamn Brad Pitt. I've been trying to be a regular nigga. I've been trying to be Future. And I just see the future. I see twerking in your future. I'm a fortune teller that see girls twerking. I'm weird, I'm not like everybody else, and that's okay. It's a struggle, right? The purpose of anybody ever getting mad at you, purpose of anybody treating you negative or looking at you like you wrong is them not able to see you as an individual soul with karma that you got to work through. As if you were supposed to come out of here with no karma and you weren't never supposed to work through shit. So now that you working through your karma, people want to feel a certain type of way. So, be safe, talk to your family, love your children, love your partner, don't give up on people, but also be smart. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Like this video if you like it. Reach out to me at whiterabbitpsych.com. Utilize the email function, text us, ask us questions, but not too many fucking questions or else I'm gonna think you the feds. Hopefully we clear on that. And yeah, man, y'all enjoy y'all life, enjoy y'all energy, enjoy y'all day. Mental health is the facilitator for all of that cool, fun shit you hope to experience in the future. As we enter this energy, I think it's very important not to avoid or ignore the cries for help through weird ass behavior. So keep your eyes on the swivel, be a little bit compassionate, keep the mind in the mode of healing, and things will work out. Peace to y'all. I'm the Hood Mystic. Represent hoodmystic.com, columbianexchange.com, and of course, your favorite psychedelic company, whiterabbitpsych.com. Peace and love to the tribe. Peace and love to the collective. And I'm going to go eat me a fruit salad. Peace.
favorite girl's a picture at a private show. I ask her not come see it, but she always tells me no. If you wanna make it rain, girl, I'll make it so. But every time I ask her, she says that I can't go. I know I love her, but I know I'm not the only one. When the party's over, she'll let me leave when all the fun's done. My favorite girl's a rider at a rodeo. I ask if I can see her, but she always tells me no. She says I'll pick her up whenever she feels low. I ask if we could chill, but she'd rather be alone. She'd rather be alone. She'd rather be alone. She'd rather be alone. I know I love her, but I know I'm not the only one. When the party's over, she'll let me leave when all the fun's done. My favorite girl's an actress at the picture show. I asked her for some tickets and she always says no. Protect my heart and I protect her soul. Love her as a night and I forgot so. I know I love her, but I know I'm not the only one. When the party's over, she'll let me leave when all the fun